Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Cold People by Tom Rob Smith. In Cold People by Tom Rob Smith, humanity has fallen. An alien force has arrived on Earth and orders humanity to head to Antarctica in 30 days or suffer the consequences. 20 years later, humanity has learned to adapt to their new environment, but still struggles with the lack of technology and the severe cold. In order to survive, scientists have created a program, the Cold People Project. This project may be the human race's last chance of survival before they go extinct. I tell you what, guys, I honestly don't really know how to feel about this book at the end of the day. It's been quite a while since I finished this book and I did my written review, and this book is still like lingering with me, and I'm still trying to ponder, like, did I like it? Did I hate it? Where am I exactly at with this book? This book is very conflicting, let me put it that way. Let me begin here. I previously have read and enjoyed Tom Rob Smith's Child 44 trilogy, especially the first book in that trilogy, Child 44. I freaking loved that book. So when I found out Tom Rob Smith was doing another book, I was like, oh goody, I'm really excited to see something else from him, because the Child 44 trilogy took place in like Soviet Russia, and this book is more of like a modern dystopian, futuristic dystopian. So yeah, two completely different extremes. So I was really highly looking forward to this. And I guess I'll begin here with my thoughts on the book. The first 86 pages, let me be exact there, the first 86 pages were absolutely brilliant. I loved it. As I said in my plot synopsis, this is like a sci-fi dystopian. We're introduced to a young woman named Lisa and her family. They are vacationing in Lisbon, Portugal, and while she is there with her family on vacation, taking place in the year 2023, while on vacation, all of a sudden, there's an invasion by aliens, you guys. It's so bizarre. And just out of nowhere, these aliens invade, and they're like, hey, the people of Earth, you have 30 days to make it down to Antarctica or we're going to kill y'all. So our main character, Lisa, and her family, and then a young man that she met while vacationing, they all take off down to Antarctica within that time limit of 30 days. So the first 86 pages of this book is pretty much that. It's Lisa and her family and the young man that she met. It's them navigating, trying to get down to Antarctica, because 30 days, it may be kind of like, oh, 30 days, that's a decent amount of time to get down there. But when the entirety of humanity, billions upon billions of people, are all trying to reach the same location, it's a living nightmare. So the first 86 pages of this book were so thrilling, you guys. It was thrilling and absolutely terrifying and brutal, and just like, oh my god, like I was like shaking sometimes, you know, like just out of terror, like, oh my god, are these people even going to make it down there? So it's after the first 86 pages that we get a 20-year time jump. And I'm not even really going to consider that any type of spoiler, because like I said, it happens after the 86 page mark, so that's still very, very early in the book. So the 20-year time jump is where this book sort of kind of fell apart for me, and where some of my interests kind of lacked in some ways. Because what I was more interested in reading about with this book was definitely the alien invasion and that journey to getting down to Antarctica, and then how was humanity going to survive down there, you know? The plot synopsis on the inside book flap, it doesn't tell you anything about a time jump at all. So I was not expecting a time jump whatsoever, and it kind of threw me initially, because like I said, I really thought this whole book was going to be about the aliens and humanity essentially trying to cope in Antarctica while also trying to fight back against the aliens and reclaim Earth, essentially. Now, this is what you need to know about the aliens, you guys, because I keep saying there's an alien invasion. Do you see these aliens? No. All you see, like when Lisa looks up at the sky, is just the spaceships, these big, huge, gigantic spaceships just up there, you know. That's all you ever see. And then, like, on the news broadcasts, the aliens do hack, like, the news and cable television and whatnot. They do hack that, but once again, you don't see them, and you don't really even hear them either. I can't remember how it's all kind of done, but you essentially do get the idea that they've hacked everything, they have completely taken over, and they're basically saying, hey, get down to Antarctica in 30 days or we're going to kill y'all. Suffer the consequences. So, for a book that initially kind of starts off with this promise of aliens, that's another frustrating, disappointing thing about this book, that the aliens really have nothing to do with this book, ultimately, at the end of the day. What's the point? And I was reading, I want to bring this up because I read this other review about this book after the fact, after I had written my written review. I was reading another book by somebody, I was reading another review from somebody on Goodreads, and they were talking about the fact, you know, what is the point of the aliens when you don't see them, and they're just a threat for that first 86 pages. What is the point of the aliens? Because it seemed like such a contrived way to get humanity down to Antarctica. And I totally agree with that point of view from this reviewer that I was reading their review. It does seem so contrived. It almost seems like, well, why not just have some other instigating event to get humanity down to Antarctica? Because I was even sitting thinking, well, why not just some big global crisis? You know, some sort of global crisis, whether it's like some sort of global warming, you know, some sort of severe global warming or weather event or something, or maybe just even something with a weird nuclear fallout, and yeah, Antarctica is the only place you can go to, you know. So yeah, the aliens, it's just really kind of bizarre and weird and strange, and yeah, like this other reviewer was mentioning, very contrived, and I totally agree with that point of view. Because the aliens, they, like I said, they are your threat for that first 86 pages, but the threats at once you get to the 20-year time jump, the threat becomes something entirely new, which, kind of for spoiler purposes, I can't entirely get into. So yeah, that's a big part of why this book kind of fell apart for me, because I was here for the aliens. Let me be real. I wanted some alien action. So getting into the 20-year time jump, which is what this book explores the most after that first 86 pages, you do get this sense of how humanity has coped and adapted. And they're doing pretty well, in my opinion, all things considering that they're in this freezing zone of nothing. They've come up with new ways to make food and clothing. There's still like a research station, fortunately, that has a bit of technology. But for the most part, that research station is the only place that has technology of any sort. So yeah, the rest of humanity don't have anything like that. So I enjoyed that aspect of seeing humanity in 20 years, I guess, and where they would be psychologically and emotionally, you know, who had the strength to survive and who didn't. And I do have to praise Tom Robb-Smith, because just like with the Child 44 trilogy, like I said, it takes place in Soviet Russia. There's a lot of snow in that trilogy. And I remember very vividly when I was reading Child 44, just the way Tom Robb-Smith would describe just sheer cold and snow. Like, I would be sitting there shivering because I was cold reading that stuff. So Tom Robb-Smith does it, again, quite wonderfully with his writing and descriptions with freezing cold Antarctica. He does it wonderfully that, yeah, while you're reading this book, you're like, ooh, I'm cold. So I definitely got to give him high praise for showcasing this desolate, isolated landscape, and it's just all whites and bland, you know, and absolutely cold. I love his writing style as far as that is concerned. So let me dive into the thematics of this book, because this is definitely a book that is more about kind of the thematics more than anything. Like I said, you don't really get any more aliens after the 86 pages, you guys. So if you're expecting aliens in the rest of the book, you're not going to get that. This book is definitely much more about the thematics, about, you know, just the nature of humanity and what humanity has done to our world, you know. Kind of, once again, since the aliens are just in that first 86 pages and you don't see them, you know, when you get that 20-year time jump, humanity is sitting there questioning, why did the aliens do this? Why exactly? What have we done? What do they want? And of course, there is a lot of theory crafting from humanity, like, oh, maybe it had something to do that they were punishing us for destroying our planet, So that is definitely a big part of this book, is definitely just the nature of how we have treated our planet over the centuries, And let me kind of start here, too, as I get into some of the thematics in particular. At the very, very start of this book are 3 very quick chapters that only last like a couple pages a piece before it gets into like Lisa's story. So in one of the very first flashback chapters, it takes place like 2,000 years ago, and it follows a young Polynesian boy who is venturing out, and he happens to stumble across Antarctica. And then the second flashback chapter takes place in like the late 1800s, and we're following a captain who is hunting seals on Antarctica, and you kind of get the sense of that, of kind of English colonialism as they're branching out the empire and destroying places, And then the third flashback chapter takes place like about 15 years before the events of 2023, and it follows a man at the research station that's on Antarctica, and how he kind of slowly succumbs to madness because he's been cooped up in Antarctica and doesn't get out very much. So that's where you're getting the thematics of this book. With the Polynesian boy, you're getting the sense of when humanity first started going out there on their boats and discovering new lands and new people and new animals, new things. That sense of excitement and joy and wonder of discovering the world. Then, with the 1800s seal captain, right there, the destruction of humanity and what we have done to our planet over time, and kind of this idea of British colonialism and whatnot, and just killing all these seals for the hell of it, just for their fat, for their skins, for parts, and the overkilling at the end of the day, and kind of wiping out animals and driving some animals to extinction over time. And then the modern day situation with the guy at the research station, you get that sense of what Antarctica kind of does to a person over time, kind of the desolation, the isolation, kind of driving someone mad. So those 3 elements, those 3 flashback chapters may seem kind of just random at the start of this book before you get into like Lisa's chapters, but thematically they make a lot of sense once you kind of start putting things together and the function that they serve. Because, once again, the wonder and joy of exploration, but then what we do with that, we totally screw that up and start destroying our planet as a result because of our wanting to explore. And then, also just being trapped in Antarctica and being slowly driven to madness over time because it's so isolated and desolate. All of those themes are totally explored with the 20-day flashback, or not flashback, the 20-year flash forward, if you will. And at the end of the day, I think what this book is also exploring is this whole notion of man just constantly playing God. Man never stops. Man has always had a desire to continue to explore and to branch out and to create and to make things bigger and better, That's kind of perhaps one of the biggest flaws of humanity in some ways that I think Tom Rob Smith is really brilliantly exploring, is that humanity doesn't know how to stop or when to stop, that we just keep going and going and going, and there's got to be a stopping point, We've got to kind of stop ourselves and control ourselves, or we will totally destroy planet Earth at some point, by taking rather than replenishing at some point. And like I mentioned at the top of this video, within the plot synopsis, at the research station, what the last remaining scientists have decided to do, they've come up with this project called the Cold People Project. And without entirely getting too much into spoilers, what this project essentially is, they're wanting to genetically enhance and create new beings, essentially, because humanity is struggling. Even though humanity has adapted and they're doing moderately well, The thing is, over time, humanity is just still going to struggle with this, and they're going to eventually possibly go extinct sooner rather than later. So this Cold People project is an attempt by scientists to genetically create kind of a new species, in a sense, that will work with the last remnants of humanity and help humanity adapt even better, in a sense. So yeah, like I said, I can't go too much into spoilers after that, because yeah, it's definitely going to verge into more spoilery territory. But yeah, that's essentially what the Cold People project is all you need to know. It's about genetically enhanced people. And as I just said, humanity's just need to make bigger, bolder, better things and keep going with that, and man continuously playing God. And yeah, we have all read Frankenstein, correct? Or at least you know what happens in Frankenstein. We all know how Frankenstein ends. It's not great. You know, you have Victor Frankenstein who's trying to play God, and it's kind of a no-no. And that's essentially what you get here. It's these scientists playing Victor Frankenstein and having their Frankenstein monsters. And what could go wrong? A lot. I do have to end this review at least praising what Tom Rob Smith has done in terms of some of the writing and kind of the messaging, in a sense, because this book is very bleak and disturbing and upsetting. Yeah, what if an alien invasion did come down and told us all to go down to Antarctica? You know, it's horrible. It's very bleak, and yeah, living in Antarctica is just very bleak. So Tom Rob Smith has this future reality, 20 years from now. It's very dark, bleak, upsetting, disturbing. But within that, contrasting with that, there are still these moments of hope and joy, love, family, characters kind of realize, this is what matters at the end of the day. We have to still have hope. We have to still have love and family. Even if your whole family has died, you can still find family, So against the bitter backdrop of bleakness is still the sense of hope and joy and love. And you got to kind of realize what's important to you, because that's kind of another thing. Characters kind of realizing, did we waste our lives with all this technology? We were on our phones and TVs all the time and not spending time with the people we really need to be spending with. And so now we're forced to be with people now, and realizing what is truly important. So I definitely loved what Tom Rob Smith was doing there, because it is really dark and disturbing in places, but there are those smidgens of light and joy, hope, family love that you need to hold on to at the end of the day to give your life purpose and meaning and for you to keep moving forward. So overall, this was an okay time of a book. Like I said, the first 86 pages is where I was the most entertained and where I was just wanting this book to keep going. I wanted there to be some sort of confrontation with the aliens. Now, that being said, the way this book ends, it ends in a rather abrupt manner, sort of, and I don't know if that's with intent and with purpose, because you really don't get any answers with this book. And once again, I don't know if that's with intent and purpose, that Tom Rob Smith, he's purposely leaving this book open-ended. He's purposely leaving it abrupt, because once again, it kind of goes with the bleakness that he has set up throughout this entire book. So I don't know if this book is intended for a standalone, or if he is possibly going to do a trilogy with this book, because like I said, it does end abruptly. You don't get any answers about anything. So I'm definitely curious to see over the next several years here, if some other books with this pop out, because I wouldn't mind revisiting this world, seeing where humanity goes, where this ending goes. Will the aliens make an appearance? Will humanity ever get their opportunity to fight back against the alien invaders and reclaim Earth, or are they not deserving of reclaiming Earth? That can be a thing too. Once again, maybe that's the intent of Tom Rob Smith. Maybe humanity is too far gone and has fallen too much, and we can never reclaim Earth once we've destroyed it. I don't know. So it'd be interesting over the next couple years to see if Tom Rob Smith does produce any more books with this, and kind of going from there, like what his ultimate thoughts about humanity are at the end of the day, you know? So you guys, that is it for my thoughts and feelings on Cold People. I kind of liked it, kind of hated it. I'm still a little conflicted even after doing this video. In the comments below, have you guys read Cold People? And I'm definitely curious to know your thoughts and opinions about it. What worked, what didn't work? Do you think there's a possibility of this being branched out into a trilogy? Who knows? So that is it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.